top of that division. Eagles Commanders, they will play on Thursday night in Philadelphia. And we were talking about this matchup and who you see. You still think it's Washington, the better team right now?
I think Washington showed a lot today playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Playing a team with a lot of playoff experience, playing against a quarterback that has won a Super Bowl in Russell Wilson. And they started a rookie quarterback. Now, Jaden's no longer a rookie. He's played 3 games. He's no longer a rookie. The thing that I admire about Washington right now is that they understand who they are. We're playing with a young quarterback. We're going to play our offense. We're going to allow him to throw the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, that's not his character. And in big moments and in big games, he just plays like he always plays. It's never too big for him. It wasn't too big for him in college when he played against big schools when he was a freshman. And he has an attribute and poise where when you look at Washington, they're not an easy out. Philadelphia is right now probably the more experienced team, might have more talent than them. But you better be careful when you play Washington because of this quarterback.
It certainly has made the NFC East. It's far different than we thought it was going to be, but it's a little bit more fun watching the Commanders back in things.
Okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to talk about both the Commanders versus Eagles and then also Commanders versus the Steelers. There's just like nothing out there for the Commanders right now, and it's just, nothing on First Take, Get Up, The Herd. I can't find anything. I mean, like, this is the best we got, and it's like, it's so wild. There's more stories all about Caleb Williams failing with the Chicago Bears. I said this was going to happen. I really thought, though, that we would have still maybe have like turned a corner and could talk about, Jan Daniels and the Washington Commanders, but yet all the shows are still all openings being like, what's wrong with Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? How about who cares right now? How about we don't have to talk about that for hours and hours every single day? Okay, like it's really annoying at this point. So like, this is the best we got, right? A random clip from Sports Center, but listen, I think this was a really great game for the Washington Commanders, despite not having the outcome that they wanted. Obviously, right, losing this game. The reality is that this game could have gone in so many different directions. It could have gone in so many different directions, both good and bad, for the Washington Commanders. And that's why people are so quick to say, oh, they lost because of this flat, because they didn't bad refereeing, whatever it may be. And it's like that for this game especially goes both ways, where the Pittsburgh Steelers had that fumble in the goal line, shouldn't have been a fumble, right? So it's just, those things really do balance out. The Commanders want to be in a position and become the team that it doesn't matter, some of those instances, that they can still overcome it. That they don't need this big heroics from, say, Zach Ertz to get that first down on a 4th and long, right? Like that's what you're trying to get to. Now, again, that's significantly easier said than done, but this year has always been about experience, learning, and growing. And when you have someone like a Jaden Daniels and you see this team turn around so quickly, and you see your record 7-2 before the loss, you're like, oh my God, this team is here. This team has arrived. Let's go. And I think the Commanders are a top team in the NFL, but you still need to go through growing pains, right? And this wasn't even Jaden Daniels' best game, although he had some great moments, and that's why you can't just go by the box score. But he had some unbelievable throws, unbelievable play, and I think they even said in the broadcast, right? Like, he's playing like a seasoned veteran, right? There's no dispute about that, right? You can't argue that. And that is what you're looking to continue to see. The Steelers were always going to be the most complete team that the Commanders faced to date. And that's what I said going into this game. And so the fact that we were able to see the Commanders show that they belong is remarkable. Have this Mike Tomlin-led team, that Mike Tomlin has always been an indicator of consistency, right? Never a losing record and all that. Russ, Super Bowl winning quarterback. And you had like Hall of Fame heroics from Russ. I mean, Russ had played truly special for the Steelers, and that's what it took to beat the Commanders, a truly special performance. And I think being able to hold your own in a game like that with a rookie quarterback, right, new coaching staff, all of this type of stuff that I always kind of repeat in all those videos, again, it's remarkable and so impressive. This is a game that the Commanders could and technically should have gotten beaten very easily. Very easily. Right? This is a game set up for the Steelers to be able to win pretty simply. Look what the Steelers did to the New York Jets, for instance, right? Like, we got plenty of examples of this. Look what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Dallas Cowboys. Right? So it's just like, it's one of those things that the Commanders weren't full strength. They have a rookie quarterback. They're going up against an incredibly consistent, well-coached team. The deck is stacked against them. And yet they almost pull off another win. They show that they belong. And in a lot of ways, they had that game won. You know, they took advantage. Now, of course, it was definitely some bad luck, right? You had muff punts and, you know, a fraction beyond, you know, in front of the first down marker. Like, those things are small. And again, we can blame execution if we want. I'm not blaming execution. It just, on the margins, weren't able to get the job done. And some of those things I almost see as more fluke is probably too strong of a word, but it's kind of like, if we were to be able to rewind the tape and play exactly the same, I don't think those things happen, right? I don't think you're going to get a muff punt and then now give short, easy position. I don't think you're going to be in a position where you need this 4th and long. So I think there's just too many positives to come away with this. And again, though, it's a tough turnaround. It's a tough game now to go up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I know Washington Commanders fans are feeling themselves and still feel pretty good, but this now will be the hardest. This will be the hardest game that they faced. This will be the best team that they faced, because I think the Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have a better roster. They're younger at the more important places. I think they have a better offense, the better offensive coordinator. So this is going to be, and Vic Fangio's for real as well. So this is going to be a really interesting game. The best thing that the Washington Commanders have going for themselves, outside of just obviously Jaden Daniels and all of that, is that Dan Quinn obviously is going to intimately know the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, and all of that, right? He was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys for years. He's going to know the Eagles very, very, very well. So that's going to be really interesting to see if they can slow down that offense, because that's the name of the game, is to slow down the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles, although their defense has stepped up tremendously. So it's going to be fascinating to see what Jaden Daniels can do, because again, you also are going up against now Vic Fangio, who's got that defense humming along and has decades of experience. And when you have that experience, like I said about Mike Tomlin, those guys typically are able to make rookie quarterbacks look very uncomfortable. And this was clearly Jaden Daniels' not best game either. And again, that's no knock on Jaden whatsoever. And yeah, I know there were some drop passes as well. But one of the drop passes, I'm pretty sure in the end zone, they still ended up scoring a touchdown, if memory serves me correctly, because there was that really bad drop. But I'm almost positive they still ended up scoring a touchdown. So that didn't end up really mattering. If I'm wrong, definitely please let me know. But the way how they were able to score, and, you know, they were able to go up 17-14 at the half. And then the first play of the second half to McLaurin, the RPO, right? Then a touchdown, boom, 24-17. Like, that is a team that is well prepared. That is a team that is well composed. To be able to close out the half and then start the second half, that is a team that is ready to win. Ready to win, ready to go. But then they couldn't score after that, really, right? They had like one field goal after that. And it's just like, those adjustments are just is what it is. You're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are also going to make adjustments. And you're going to have Mike Tomlin, who is a great defensive coach. So he's going to be able to bring his own his own special, so to speak, to be able to slow down that offense. And that's what he was able to do. And again, in that moment, you really just kind of shake Mike Tomlin's hand and say, congrats, good job, right? Like it just is what it is. So this game, this is the Commanders losing this game. I'm really fascinated to see, because we're going to learn a lot about them, because I'm pretty sure they're on the road against the Eagles. It's going to be a tough environment, going to be intense. Be the most intense environment that Jaden Daniels has faced, without a doubt. Philly, division, on the road. The Eagles obviously have a ton of momentum. They're both short rest, though, so that also now kind of equalizes that. The difference is that the Eagles had to go from Dallas all the way here. The Commanders are driving 2.5 hours, 3 hours from Washington to Philly, so hardly anything to be that big of a deal about. So it's going to be fascinating. I'm really fascinated for this game. I love that it's a standalone game. It's going to be fun. Should be contentious. Philly's on a 5-game win streak, right? Like, they're obviously feeling good. Washington won 3 of their last 4. Both these teams are humming, and both these teams are competing for the division. I mean, this is a big game. I mean, obviously, but it can't be understated, specifically because of the records, right? 7-3, 7-2. This is a big game. It kind of feels who can get the better of each other in the division. And now the Eagles got an easy division win against the Cowboys. I assume the Commanders will be able to do the same thing as well. They already beat up on the Giants. So this is going to be for the division. And the way how the playoffs are shaping up in general, it's also kind of feels like if you win the division, obviously you're in the playoffs. But if you don't, there seems to be that there's a legitimate risk of just not making the playoffs. You're either going to win the division, or the wild card's going to be too tight. Like, the wild card's going to be really tight. Really, when we see it. The Eagles are I guess now that the Eagles are technically winning the division now, I think is the way it's ranking now. Or is it still the Commanders? Let me see. I think they had it there. Yeah, right. So technically it is, because they're 7-2 and the Washington Commanders are 7-3. And being a 7-3 team right now, and being again, before this game, the Eagles were in the division, or were at the top of the wild card, which again is kind of wild. And it's so close, because you lose one extra game and you're done. So it's going to be a tight race. It's absolutely going to be a tight race. But, like, again, all in all, I think the Washington Commanders played really well. I think we're going to learn so much about this team going up against the Eagles on the road. And again, and I'll talk more about this on like Wednesday and Thursday, it's not even so much that I need to see the Commanders win this game, because this is another game that should be stacked against them. It's really more, to me, how composed are they? How competitive do they make it? And how does the game unfold? What type of adversity do they face and overcome? And what type of adversity do they impose on the Philadelphia Eagles? That is actually going to be more interesting to me than anything else. What type of adversity can they impose on the Philadelphia Eagles? But like I said, we'll talk about that more when we get closer to it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders, their loss against the Steelers, the game coming up against the Eagles? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.